Thank you to Chen for suggesting me to read this. Apparently it is a really cursed JoJo fanfic. But you know, I am cursed JoJo. I have seen a lot of cursed things from this community, so I would be surprised if it would actually faze me. So let's give it a try. Gyro and Johnny go to Olive Garden. Gyro and Johnny approach the large convenience store, looking up at the glowing 7-Eleven sign that could be seen for miles. To them, this sign meant so much, driving half an hour with a barely functioning car, but the air conditioning worked, so it would have to do for now. Gyro only agreed to go this far with the $1 he had found around the house so he could see the satisfaction in Johnny's eyes. Finally, it was now time for the one thing they came 20 miles for: flaming hot Cheetos. Gyro outstretched his arm to the bottom row, crouching down to grab the bag. Normally his eyes would attend to the bag, but he noticed a familiar green under the aisle. Was it cash? A $10 bill maybe? Of course not. He picked up the money, soon realizing his speculations were much more than true. $50! He rushed to Johnny, who was calmly sitting in the air-conditioned car, and showed him the money. "You know where we could go?" Johnny charmingly asked. Gyro turned and faced him while getting into the car. "Gyro, where's my flaming hot Cheetos? I really wanted those." "I guess it doesn't matter now," Johnny replied. Gyro sighed. "I guess I forgot. Where do you want to go out to eat? We could probably go to Outback or..." Gyro was cut off mid-sentence by the two words. "Olive Garden!" Johnny exclaimed, his eyes lighting up with excitement. "Fine, I guess. Olive Garden will work." Gyro shut his door, putting the vehicle into reverse. Johnny ranted about how he thought the fat fucking breadsticks were probably the best and most filling part of a meal from the restaurant. Gyro sighed and nodded in agreement, becoming antsy from having to return to the driver's seat and sit for another probably half hour just to reach the nearest Olive Garden. "We're here," Gyro spoke as he looked over the man beside him, halfway asleep. Johnny awoke with a thud to Gyro opening the car door, helping the handicapped man into the doors of the Olive Garden. Gyro helped him up until they seated, gently setting him on one of two chairs. He sat in the other, gazing down at the menu. "What do you want, Johnny?" Johnny stayed silent and read the options to himself, settling on a plate of fettuccine alfredo. "Johnny," Gyro spoke up, "what do you want from the menu? I think the spaghetti looks pretty nice, especially the meat." Before he could finish the sentence, the waitress approached their table with 2 baskets of piping hot breadsticks. Johnny's tongue grazed over his lips, his mouth watering. He couldn't contain himself, reaching over to grab one. He swore under his breath and complained about how hot they were, yet continued to awkwardly bite into it. The waitress smiled, asking what drink the 2 boys wanted cheerfully. "I'd like a Sprite," answered Gyro. But on the other hand, Johnny was quiet and staring at the delectable breadsticks. These breadsticks were perfect. The hard outer shell and the soft layered inside were absolutely a masterpiece, by God. Johnny's gaze suddenly was split from the breadsticks and onto the man in front of him. "Johnny, answer her!" The boy still remained silent, gnawing on a steaming breadstick. Make that 2 Sprites." Tears started to stream down Johnny's face as the waitress left the pair, his eyes still staring at the breadsticks as he began on his 3rd one. Gyro was not having this. He placed his hand on his lover's cheek. What? Oh, okay. Wiping away the crumbs and tears. This was in vain as Johnny continued eating the breadsticks until there was 1 left. He looked to Gyro and smiled, splitting it in half. Gyro was the most confused he'd ever been. He took the breadstick and ate it, and immediately wanted more. No wonder why Johnny loved these so much. The waitress came back with a shocked expression. In front of her displayed Johnny with his pants down and a breadstick on his member. Unable to get an erection from being paralyzed waist down? Did I miss a line? What? Johnny's eyes didn't go off of the breadstick on his length and continuously stared at his cock, seeing that it won't grow an erection anytime soon. It was quite stupid. "Johnny, what the fuck?" Gyro squealed, seeing this horrific sight. Johnny laughed as the waitress dropped the pear strings on the ground, spilling the sticky liquid on the carpets, along with misshapen cubes of ice that came tumbling with it. Gyro was completely shocked. His lips parted and an absolutely petrified look was on his face. He had fucked Johnny before, but not out in public. What was he even doing anyway? Johnny can't even get an erection in the first place. Gyro quickly pulled up Johnny's pants and took the breadstick off his length in fear of getting kicked out of the Olive Garden. Johnny, seriously, stop it! Gyro added in embarrassment. Soon enough, Gyro apologized and told the new waitress their orders: Alfredo and normal spaghetti. She placed down their Sprites on the table, one in front of Johnny and the other Gyro. The waitress turned on her heel, happily walking to the kitchen to place their orders. Gyro looked over to Johnny, slightly confused and a little upset. "Johnny, wait until later. We can't fuck in the middle of Olive Garden." Johnny stared at Gyro, not saying anything or doing anything besides eating the breadsticks left on the table. Finally, Johnny spoke aloud, his mouth full of the warm breadsticks. "Gyro, please, I want your big cock in my mouth." Gyro sighed, shaking his head slightly. "No, Johnny." The waitress came back with their order, carefully putting their orders on the table. Johnny stared at the unusual chunk of a corpse in his Alfredo. He picked up the strange skull and suddenly felt pain in his lower stomach. Johnny cried out in torment and agony, only for Gyro to be ultimately terrified. Was Johnny pregnant? This can't be possible. There's no fucking way Johnny, a male, could be pregnant. Gyro started to cry out of fear and joy. He would have a child, someone to pass on the Zeppelin name. But still, what the fuck? How is this possible? Johnny continued to scream and cry in pain, as he could finally feel waist down and feel his erection rising. Gyro was amazed. Johnny had never had an erection before his spine was shot. By then, everyone in the Olive Garden had either left or was hiding away from this awful sight. "Johnny, what the fuck is happening?" Gyro demanded, staring at the man. "Fuck, I don't know, I touched that." Johnny started to pant. "Skull corpse thing." Gyro put his hand in his own hair, at a loss for words. He started sweating as he saw his own boyfriend give birth. Johnny laid back on the table, watching as Gyro tried to help him give birth to this creature. Why'd you call it creature? Johnny now for the first time in forever bent his legs by himself on the table so they reached the sky. His member felt like it was going to explode as Gyro rubbed it up and down in attempts to help Johnny relax and labor. Johnny winced in pain and pleasure, the bottom of his shaft expanding where the baby started to crown. Gyro started to rub the shaft faster where the baby was. Johnny started to yelp as the baby grew closer and closer to his urethra until he's coming out of his dick. I mean, he's not even an ass birth. He's like just coming out his pee-pee. "Come on, baby!" Gyro cried out, watching as the baby started to stretch out of Johnny's dick. So far, Johnny's dick was inflated like a balloon and growing. Finally, the baby came out of Johnny's urethra. After about an hour, Gyro held the slightly deformed baby in his arms, looking at its face. "Wait, does this baby look like Jesus or what?" Gyro screamed. His boyfriend had just given birth to the Lord Jesus Christ himself. Suddenly, a figure approached behind the couple, gently grabbing the baby out of Gyro's arms. He parted his lips and extended his jaw to an inhuman length, devouring the newborn. Slowly chewing up the baby's flesh and drinking its fresh blood as baby Jesus cried out. He took the remnants out of his mouth. He then tore out the baby's guts with his razor-sharp teeth and inhaled them just like spaghetti. What the fuck is going on, dude? Eagerly, he plucked out the eyeballs and stabbed them with his ring finger, to then put them on a stick along with the baby's ears, nose and fingers. It was a kebab of baby body parts, and no one dare stop this man. Johnny and Gyro were horrified and had permanent mental scarring from this moment. Soon enough, the baby was completely digested. Who was this man? Gyro thought to himself, but then he looked closely at the double chin on this man. It was the president. It was the president, Funny Valentine. Gotta love a quick meal, isn't that right, boys? He chuckled, patting his belly before disappearing in the shadows. Now from all this, Johnny could finally feel his legs after all these years. Somehow the baby had made him able to walk. Was this a sign from God? Johnny smirked, taking a breadstick and handing it to Gyro. He slid his pants off, revealing his thong. Surely enough, with Gyro's open hand, he took off the hot pink thong. He began to fondle Johnny's balls and squeeze them as he shoved the buttery breadstick up Johnny's ass, using olive oil as lube. The burning hot breadstick making Johnny wince with pleasure in pain. How was Johnny feeling this? Was it because of the baby he'd just given birth to? Who cared? Johnny began to scream as Gyro shoved the breadstick in there further, getting the entire breadstick shoved up his ass before sticking his own cock into Johnny's tight ass. He applied olive oil to his fingers and to his cock and continued thrusting into Johnny, mushing up the bread that was already in there. Ugh. Man, I'm about to throw up. What is this shit, dude? Why am I reading this garbage? Gyro and Johnny both moaned out in pleasure as the bread stuck onto Gyro's length and burned Johnny's asshole. The bread slowly started to burn Johnny's anal cavity, making him scream and holler for help. By then, the olive oil started to become dry and sticky in Johnny's ass, stinging his anus and making him cry for help. Gyro quickly hushed him, kissing his neck while fucking him on the table. Johnny continued screaming and crying for Gyro to go faster, but Johnny's anal cavity was almost completely burned up. Gyro sighed, taking off his hat and Johnny's shirt. Johnny grabbed another breadstick, shoving it up Gyro's ass this time. The breadstick was mildly warm, which was great for Gyro. He winced as the breadstick was hot and destroying his asshole as Johnny picked up the pace of thrusting it with his hand. Johnny started to stare at Gyro, pleading for him to take his dick out. Gyro quickly obeyed, parting his lips to say, "What is it?" Johnny shifted his arm to the napkin, taking out the knife. He pressed the blade up to Gyro's dick, cutting the head and the shaft. Gyro screamed as blood splurted out of his car. What am I reading? It felt absolutely fucking awful. What the fucking hell? Gyro yelled, but before he could run he was completely pinned by Johnny. Johnny pressed the blade up to his balls as he started to eat the pieces of Gyro's dick that fell off. Gyro was crying and drinking his own tears. Johnny started to saw Gyro's balls off, eating them. Gyro was uncontrollably bleeding as his body went limp. Gyro was dead. What the fuck is this garbage shit? Fuck, whoever wrote this shit should kill himself. Johnny screamed in horror as he started to vomit pieces of Gyro's dick into Gyro's mouth with a simple making out session. He continued licking the blood and the knob where Gyro's dick used to be. He began to fuck Gyro's dead corpse, masturbating off to him as he came all over Gyro's chest. In the back of the restaurant there stood Hotpants and Diego. They watched in horror as Johnny performed necrophilia on Gyro's corpse. Hotpants then sat, eating her breadsticks as Diego shot Johnny dead. Hotpants then got on her phone and posted a review on Yelp about this experience at Olive Garden. Their food isn't even good, it tastes shitty, it's not actually Italian. The only good thing is the fucking buttery, overly salted, fat-ass breadsticks that are on par with the bread rolls from Legal Seafoods. The staff is overstressed and probably understaffed. The decor isn't even pretty and I don't even think they have grapes. Last time I went we were near the wine cabinet. I counted 80-ish wines. Why don't you have fucking more wine? It's a goddamn restaurant, and why do you have it there? Why not in the kitchen? At the ends of each table there were these electronic menu shits and my little cousin was like, "Oh my god, are there games on here?" and added $5 extra onto our total by getting baited by the shitty little screen by pressing a game sign. When we were purchasing it took fucking forever because it kept messing up and not showing our receipt. However, the shrimp I had was pretty filling. Overall, fuck Olive Garden. 3 out of 10. The end. Oh my god, I'm finally done with this shit, dude. I'm never reading this garbage again. I'm rating this fanfic or whatever you want to call it a 1 out of 10. 0 out of 10 actually, if that's possible. The writing was garbage. Everything was the story is garbage. What the fuck? Oh my god. Yeah. It was pretty traumatizing. What the fuck did I read? Why did it... It just went worse and worse as... Oh my god, bro. Like, at one point it wasn't even funny, it was just disgusting. Bro, it's so stupid. Anyway, thanks for checking this out, I guess. I would appreciate a like for having to read this garbage. Oh my god, anyway guys, see you guys next time. Bye.